Yeah, Dwayne, you've just talked about free will. Uh, we are free. Everyone is free to uh, do as they want, to fix their lives the way they want. Now we're dealing with the is, which is the highest, the supreme, most sublime substance. I don't know whether it's substance or thing that is in the universes. And now, and most people would like it to impact their physical lives, to give them a good life, to make things easy for them, and all the like. So I don't know why this is much of a problem, because most of the complaints that I see people have is uh, how to harness this sublime power so that it impacts their physical lives to the extent that things there with the allis, they have all that they can need at this life level. But then things seem to be so difficult at this level. So what is the reason for this? And is it that once on the once we put our hands on this, everything will go backwards instead of forward? So I don't know. Can you say something?
Well, an example is, and a very good example because it's demonstrated every day, it's all around us, we've done it for the longest time, and that is just like driving your car on petroleum products that pollute the air and destroy the environment. You know, people are asking the question about the environment as an example, just like it doesn't matter what the question is, and just like what you're saying, it's the same thing. And as long as they're doing the same thing, as long as they're driving their car on petroleum products because they've been marketed to think this is a good thing, okay, which it is, it gets you going, gets you from here to there, all right. I don't remember the Indians having, automobiles, and they seem to do fine with whatever they're doing. But again, here is another thing that seems to be necessary that we must have. So we have it. And so, see, people aren't consciously looking at what they're doing. It's not about life. See, they're looking to life. See, this is the old God idea. In other words, this is how dumbed down people are. It's not that they're dumb. They've been dumbed down to the point that they've got to look to something else besides themselves. And so they're thinking, well, what can the new presentation do for me? What can God do for me, or whatever? See, you've been rehearsed into these ideas that it's always somebody else. And so this is where the government steps up and says, hey, we're your friend. We'll think for you. Okay? And then when that agreement's there, it's like, oh, okay, thank you so much. Oh, the government's going to think for me. Oh, they're going to tax me a little bit. They're going to do this or that. And they're going to make me, labor the rest of my life so I can afford a plot of land to live on, because they've claimed the earth, which the Indians didn't do. There was no titles or deeds. It was the bankers, the reptilian bankers from Europe, who came over here and just decided this is the BLM land, Bureau of Land Management. It's like, oh, this is all ours. Just like the old kings of the old days saying, oh, as far as I can see, that's my land. Okay, because they decided it. And so again, Charles, you see, this is how people view things. First of all, they just look at their personal self. Okay, that's it. That's number one. Forget the whole of life. It's just me, me, me. Okay, just like Miss Piggy, moi. Okay, and so they don't see a bigger picture. So until they do, and it's like, well, what can this do for me? What good is it? And that's a point of view. It's understandable to a certain point, and that is that, again, it's like driving your car. You can put it on water as an idea, or you can run it on magnets. Water is really pretty simple. Maybe it'll cost you $500 or $1,000, but you can run your car on water, and maybe you're the only one, okay? But at least it's a start, just like me as I'm presenting this. I started by myself. I was the only one. I was like Moses when Ramesses took him to the desert, and he says, here's your kingdom. The lizards and the snakes and whatever, have fun. That basically that was it. The boys brought me to a certain point. It's like, okay, here it is. What are you going to do next? It was up to me. I was on the earth. Okay, I am on the earth doing this, and it took me a while to figure it out. And so, again, the car is a good example. And you can use that example with these people that bring things up. You can ask them, do you have a car? Well, maybe they don't, but the idea is the car is like, are you still running on gasoline? Well, you don't have to. See, it's a choice. Because people are making the same choices, but they expect different results. They expect someone else to do it for them. So, they will come to this, they'll take some knowledge, oh, that sounds good, I've had a few experiences with Revazar or whatever, and then they'll go on their way. They'll many times go back to religion because they really want it done for them. They want someone else to think for them. And so until they are willing to face everything, okay, and a step at a time, I'm not saying you just got to face it all. Nobody can do that. No, but at least you're deciding, just like if you're deciding to be a doctor. You can't just step up and be the doctor. One day you decide it, the next day you're in the operating room. It's like, oh, gee, I got to operate now? No, it's not like that. You go through a procession of things to where you're prepared to do that. And this is where the real guidance comes in and the real education, yes. And so, yeah, again, people are looking at things the same way as they always have, expecting something different. And this support idea, well, the reality of the true support of life is when you step up and you decide to support life itself. You see? That's how it works. And just like in a team, like a baseball team, hey, everybody plays their position. Nobody plays, 8 of the players don't, play the position like, let's say, the shortstop out there. What does the shortstop do? Just stand there and everybody else runs around and grabs the ball because he's just there? No, he has to play his position too. See, everybody has to step up. In other words, this is what's very interesting about this, and this is the best part, is that when you decide to step up and stand real what the isness life is and recognize it, okay, it's not about getting something, okay? It's about standing real with it, and you will see that when you get to that so-called ultimate point, which continues to go on endlessly, it's an endlessness. There is no point, there is no completion of it, okay? There is no culmination or completion of it. It goes on, but at a certain point you recognize it, and you stand real with it. Well, you want to support this reality that's supporting you, because it supports all of life, and this is how life exists. The whole of life, more so than just creation. Creation is not life. It is creation. There's a difference. But the whole of life, it's when you decide that you want to step up and support this reality wholeheartedly, where this becomes your life, and you move out of the personal sense. So, yeah, this is to where, as people come into this, and the boys do the same thing. They sit and they just watch the person. Okay, we have everything available. We have so much available, and we're constantly creating more options and opportunities. And so, pick something, go with something, decide something, or don't. See, again, it's like a person that wants to be the baseball player. They start off in a particular way, and they watch the individual to see what they'll do. Everybody has to perform. They, in some way, have to prove themselves. You have to prove themselves. And this is where people have got it backwards. They're thinking that life has to prove itself to them. Does that make sense when life's already complete? You see, that's where the recognition comes in. You must recognize, and just like all the inventions that have been created, this is a recognition, you see? So these ideas didn't drop from heaven, they're already existing, all right? It already exists, and it's up to each individual to recognize how to get the materials together to eventually create the cell phone, you see? So life didn't do that. And those that created that didn't expect that to happen. They knew that they had to do it. And this is where individuals, I suggest to see certain things. And a very good documentary, kind of a documentary movie, is on the Wright brothers. These two guys, they started off with their parents, and then they did bicycles. They did all kinds of things. Eventually, they decided, hey, you know what? Let's fly. Let's build something that flies. And one of them had a girlfriend. I think the other one had a wife. But you know what? I don't know how they did it, but they brought all this stuff out in a tent to Kitty Hawk. These guys were just so focused on what they were doing. They forgot their wife. They forgot their girlfriend. They forgot everything. They just focused on flying this airplane. Then eventually they wanted to put a motor on it, etc. So they went through it. They were just totally focused on that, you see? And so it is that. So when people, and hey, in the documentary, they never mention worshiping and prayer. Okay, they didn't get down on their knees and pray to some God that, do this for us. No, they did it. And so through their creations, I know they must have recognized something. But then again, people get so involved in their physical part that they don't have time to recognize certain things. So again, this is where you have it all right now. Someone has to produce this. Paul started this off. Now I've brought this forward like nobody else. Is there anyone else in the world? Referring to this reality beyond creation. Basically, everything in the world is one-dimensional, physical, astral. Most people want to get the heck out of here because they want to go to their astral heaven. Well, you're just going to come right back here because you got all kinds of emotional attachments, tap lining. It's not about getting out or not reincarnating and all these things. There's no such thing, really. That's just unconsciousness. Again, the old saying, he who would save his life will lose it. It's not about saving your life. That's a personal view. It's about recognizing and standing real with the whole of life that supports everything and recognizing how that is. It's an isness. So yes, Charles, you have a lot to deal with and a lot to present. I would say let them listen or write down what I've said here. It's a basic idea, and you yourself will get other ideas according to the relationships and the vicinity that you're in. Okay, so we all have our challenges, and they're really all the same. They all appear differently. I would say the biggest challenge in the world here is a mother raising children. I see that as huge. I would rather work a 9-to-5 job, which I did, my construction job, and that is that taking care of children all day, that's huge. So now, yes, you have the world out there. I would say that's easy compared to raising children. So everybody has their challenges. And again, people expecting something to drop out of the sky. Life is a recognition. And this is where, again, people have been taught to look to something created. Do you look to your car to figure out your life? How can you look to the government to figure out your life when these are the people that are creating the distortion that are keeping you prisoner on planet X here? Does that make sense to look to them? So there must be another way, and there is. Now you have the real knowledge here and the real reference to learn to see the is, and the boys are there. The boys are there, and they're always there for you as long as you're interested. Hey, they're always there because this is what they do. They're always doing. So these ideas that have been created here, again, when you look at what people reference to, when you look at what they're talking about in this sense, Charles, they're just looking to old created stuff. It's like looking to old furniture. It's like looking to the Model T Ford. You don't see many of those around, but there are some people driving them because that's their world, and that's about it. And so, again, it's what they're looking at They have to decide to see what is real. And it is not easy because it is far too real. The all is will always be far too real. And it is not a power, it is not sublime, it's not all these things. Not even what I describe it to be. It is what it is. That's real. Just like the air we breathe, it is what it is. And you can say whatever you want about it, but you know what? It has nothing to do with that. This is just all I can say is the awesomeness that life is. It is so uniquely real, and you can learn to see it and stand real with it, and that's where you become self-sufficient. So in the meantime, if you want something in creation, okay, which does apply but has nothing to do with your real awareness. If you want something personally in creation, you want to beg the gods, go ahead. But I would say, do it. Whatever you want, decide it. I created all this, and here we are in this group. It's like I created everybody here. You're in my adventure, and I'm in your adventure. See, this is where we share. And I decided this. It just didn't happen. I didn't beg the boys to do it. I had to do this. I had to put this together so that all of you would come here and be attracted to this, etc. So you have to mute. You see? So again, you are the new leader, and they're going to look to you. So you're like the authority, whatever. You play whatever role you want. Just like Val, he's Dean Val now, okay? So he's dean of the university. So we use that. We use that idea. And it's a friendly idea so that people, because they want to look to something. And so I use my ideas also as Duane the Great Writer, etc. And these are just ideas that I use and references so that, people have something to relate to. That's the idea. But the bigger picture is I see everybody as a being of light. I don't care what their attitudes are. It doesn't matter to me. I already see them. I go to the heart of the individual. I see their heart. And so in the meantime, everybody brings all their funny stuff, which is okay. And that can be better understood if they want to better understand it. But some people, they don't want to better understand it. They want it just like it's always been because they feel safe with it. Well, guess what? Again, just like adding the couch to the house, you can add things, okay, to your experience. And you still got the old stuff if you want to hang on to it. But the funny thing is that when you get the new couch and you look at the old furniture, it's like, wow, you know what? I'm going to throw away the old stuff because you know what? I like the new couch. And we're going to get more new stuff. See, it's more fun to be new and new and new and new. You can do that. But the world has been rehearsed in tradition, old traditional stuff that sounds good, that goes nowhere. That's Harry on stage giving us pretty words. And the Pope and the President, these are just words. And again, it's as you agree, that becomes your reality. If that's what you want, go for it. You have free will. But what we're doing is always new. This is the real fountain of youth. It really is. This is what everybody's looking for. But it's in your real awareness. And at the same time, dealing with creation. Yeah, creation is a bitch, isn't it? Especially when everybody is out there polluting and destroying the world, thinking that it's all la-la land and it's all good, when really it's not what it seems. Yeah, it's a real challenge. Yeah, so people are expecting something from the system because this is how they've been brainwashed into thinking that they are not able to do it themselves. They've been taught to be cripples. Nobody is a cripple. Everybody has an imagination, and you can imagine whatever you want, but you must go through the process. So just like planting a seed in the ground, hey, give the flower time to grow. It's got to go through its process too. You can do hocus pocus, but you know what? Just like the miracles of Jesus, how long did they last? And here are people 2,000 years later, whatever time frame it is, still looking for Jesus to save the world because of all the screw-ups they've done. Does that make sense? Jesus is looking at the world and is going, I'm not going back there. I don't want to fix all that stuff. I don't want to clear the drain pipes. You think he wants to do that? No. I wouldn't want to do it. Maybe he will, whatever. So sometimes when people refer to their God ideas, I say, okay, well, go pray to your gods, whatever. They make their statements. So, this is This is a distortion that people have accepted, Charles, as a reality, thinking that life is going to do something for them, and it will once they recognize how all this really is. Okay, and so it's a bigger picture now, and it's a little tougher because you have creation to deal with. Because again, you have a lot of people out there with free will, and they're nuts. And that's just how it is. You got to deal with it. But it should motivate you to even look more so into this reality to figure it out for yourself. That's how I see it. For myself, when things get hard, it motivates me, and then I'm willing to go through whatever because it is part of the wake up. It's part of anything. Just like my friend Ollie, who had a heart attack. It's part of his wake up too. Scared him, you know. I can see he's a little bit different now. You know, that it shook him up a little bit. Well, it's part of it too. I was paying attention a little more. Yeah, it's about paying attention. So um, we're doing great. You know, we're fine. The boys are fine. They love what's going on. And again, we have to work with what we can work with here. That's all. That's all we can do. And I look at the pioneers. Hey, they had it tough. They had to dig for water. They had to chop down trees and mill those trees to make their log cabins. Hey, there, I don't see where there should be any complaints about anything here. And I know the Africans have it hard. But you know, there's a lot of them that have it hard. And all they have to do is get together and decide something fun. And you know what? They will have real guidance to show them, each step of the way to where they can succeed in some way in creation. There is a difference. And so this is what's unique about the new presentation. We are not one-dimensional. You know, we're not Tony Robbins to make you feel good at the seminar and hype you up to where when you go home, you probably don't know what to do anyhow. You know, while you're at the seminar, though, you're feeling good, you know, and everybody's there and rah, rah, rah. Well, eventually that only lasts so long because that's emotional hype. And actually the reptilians really like that. Yeah, he's bought off too. They all are. And so they keep people dumbed down with these little programs and all this stuff, which is fine. Take the program if it, if it suits your business needs. That's part of creation. But there's a bigger picture, and that's us. You know, we imply everything, and we're fine with everything. Nothing is negated. No discrimination. No, none of that. It's the sun shining. But you must recognize the bigger picture. And just like climbing climbing some big mountain like Mount Everest, it's a hell of a challenge, and it's scary. It's dangerous at times. Yeah, you're going to confront things, and yeah, the world wants to get rid of you. I'm the #1 target in the world. I really am. They don't want me here. That's just how it is. They got rid of Paul. That's how it is. And so things become interesting. And the challenge was huge when Paul left. I saw that. I was shown a lot of things, and it's not what people thought. Not even close. And that's why I started to write book 9, because now we're into a bigger adventure here. I like it. And the thing is that because it's part of the wake up, and it builds your strength to where you're okay. It's all for you. It is for you, but you must recognize how it is. You don't need to beg for anything. Figure it out. And then sometimes you do beg. So anyhow, it's all workable. Yes, Charles, you're wonderful for asking. Thank you.